Napoleon Bonaparte was a truly amazing leader. He came from a small island called Corsica. Not many people expected him to become so famous. He rose up during a time of big changes in France. This was the time of the French Revolution. Napoleon was very smart and full of energy. He knew how to lead soldiers into battle. He also knew how to make people believe in him. He became a general when he was very young. Soon, he was the most powerful man in France, and then in much of Europe. He was not just a soldier though. Napoleon was also a great thinker. He made many new laws for France. These laws were called the Napoleonic Code. Many countries still use ideas from his laws today. He changed how armies fought. He changed how countries were run. He was a builder of empires and a shaker of thrones. His story is like something from a grand book. It is full of big battles and amazing victories. He also faced terrible defeats. Napoleon had a dream of a united Europe. He wanted France to be at the center of it all. He fought many wars to try and make this happen. He led his armies across vast lands, from the hot sands of Egypt to the cold snows of Russia. His soldiers loved him very much. They would follow him anywhere, into any danger. He knew their names and he shared their hardships. This made them loyal to him. His life was full of drama and excitement. One moment he was the master of Europe, the next he was a prisoner on a lonely island. But even after he was gone, his ideas lived on. People still study his battles and his decisions. They still talk about his genius and his ambition. He is a figure who fascinates us. He shows what one person can do to change the world. His impact was truly immense, reaching far beyond his own lifetime. Hello dear readers and history enthusiasts. Before we dive deeper into this fascinating what-if scenario, I want to take a moment. Thinking about history in new ways is exciting. It helps us understand the past and the present. We love exploring these ideas with you. Creating content like this takes time and effort. We spend many hours researching and writing. We want to bring you the best stories. We want to make history come alive for everyone. If you enjoy these journeys into the past, please consider supporting our work. Your support helps us continue to create more content. It allows us to explore even more amazing topics. There are many ways you can help. You can subscribe to our channel or newsletter. You can share our articles with your friends. Every little bit of support makes a big difference. It encourages us to keep going and to make even better historical explorations. Think of it as becoming a patron of history. Just like patrons supported artists and thinkers in the past. Your help allows us to dedicate more resources to research. We can find more interesting facts and details. We can create more engaging visuals and stories. It helps us pay for the tools and platforms we use. This ensures we can reach as many people as possible. We believe history should be accessible to all, so as we prepare to imagine Napoleon with weapons beyond his wildest dreams, please think about this. If you find value and enjoyment in what we do, a small gesture of support means the world. It fuels our passion for history. It lets us know you are with us on this journey. Thank you for being part of our community. Now let us turn back to the Emperor and his potential new arsenal. Let's explore what might have been. Napoleon Bonaparte was not just another king or general. He was a force of nature who reshaped Europe. His importance comes from many things he did. First, he was a military genius. He won battles when nobody thought he could. He used new tactics and moved his army very fast. Other generals studied his campaigns for many years. They tried to learn his secrets to winning wars. He changed the way armies were organized and fought. He also brought big changes to society. The Napoleonic Code, his system of laws, was very important. It said that all men were equal before the law. It protected property rights and gave people religious freedom. These were new ideas for many parts of Europe. Many countries adopted these laws. Some of these laws still influence legal systems around the world today. He spread the ideas of the French Revolution, even if he became an emperor himself. This included ideas of liberty and nationalism. Napoleon also changed the map of Europe. He created new countries and changed the borders of old ones. He put his family members on thrones in different kingdoms. This spread French influence far and wide. Even though his empire did not last, these changes had long-term effects. They stirred up feelings of nationalism in many places. People started to think of themselves as part of a nation. This led to many changes in the 19th and 20th centuries. Finally, Napoleon became a legend. His story of rising from a minor noble to emperor of the French fired imaginations. He was a symbol of ambition and possibility. He was also a symbol of the dangers of too much power. His life has been studied by leaders, soldiers, and ordinary people ever since. He showed what one person with great talent and determination could achieve. He left a mark on the world that is still visible. That is why he remains so incredibly important to understand. Now, let's step into a world of imagination. What if Napoleon, the master of 19th century warfare, had access to 21st century weapons? Think about it for a moment. The man who conquered much of Europe with cannons and muskets. What could he do with tanks, fighter jets, and helicopters? What if he had computers and the internet? It is a mind-boggling thought. His strategic genius combined with modern technology would be a powerful mix. He was already ahead of his time in many ways. Imagine Napoleon sitting in his command tent. Instead of relying on horse-mounted scouts for news, he has a live drone feed. He can see the enemy's exact positions. He can see their numbers and their movements in real time. No more guessing or waiting for slow reports. He would know everything almost instantly. His ability to make quick decisions was already famous. With perfect information, he would be even faster. He could strike with pinpoint accuracy. His understanding of logistics was amazing. He knew how to supply his huge armies. But modern transport like cargo planes and heavy trucks would solve many problems. He could move soldiers and supplies faster than ever before. His famous Grande Armée could appear anywhere in Europe in days, not weeks or months. The speed and reach of his campaigns would be incredible. His famous strategy of rapid concentration of forces would be amplified enormously. He always sought to surprise his enemies. And what about communication? No more relying on messengers on horseback who could be captured or delayed. With encrypted radios and satellite phones, Napoleon could command his forces across vast distances. He could coordinate multiple armies perfectly. He could issue orders and receive updates instantly. The internet would give him access to a world of information. He could use it for propaganda, for research, or even for cyber warfare. The possibilities are almost endless for a mind like his. Let's think about one of Napoleon's most famous battles, Waterloo. This was his final defeat in 1815. He faced the British army led by Wellington and the Prussians led by Blücher. It was a close battle, decided by the arrival of the Prussians. Now imagine Napoleon had just a few modern tanks at Waterloo. Even one or two main battle tanks would have been unstoppable. The enemy soldiers had never seen anything like it. They had muskets and cannons that fired round balls. Picture a Leclerc tank or an M1 Abrams rolling onto the field. Its thick armor would make it immune to cannonballs. Musket fire would just bounce off. The sound of its engine alone would cause terror. The sight of this metal monster moving across the land would break enemy morale. Soldiers would likely throw down their weapons and run. Wellington's carefully formed infantry squares designed to repel cavalry would be useless. The tank could drive right through them, its machine guns firing. The battle would likely be over in hours, not a whole day. Napoleon could use the tanks to punch a hole in Wellington's line. Then, his cavalry and infantry could pour through the gap. The Duke of Wellington was a brilliant defensive general, but he would have no answer to such a weapon. His artillery would be destroyed quickly. His command posts could be targeted with precision. There would be no need to wait for Grouchy's missing corps. The battle would be a swift, decisive French victory. The psychological impact would be immense. News of this invincible weapon would spread like wildfire. Other armies would be terrified to face Napoleon. His reputation as an unbeatable commander would be cemented. The Battle of Waterloo, instead of being his downfall, could have been his greatest triumph. It could have secured his empire for many more years. The course of European history would have changed dramatically on that single day, all thanks to a few machines from the future. Napoleon understood the importance of knowing what the enemy was doing. He used cavalry scouts and spies. But imagine if he had access to modern air power. Think about reconnaissance drones. Small, quiet drones could fly high above enemy lines. They could send back clear pictures and videos. Napoleon would know every enemy position. He would know their troop numbers. He would know if they were planning a surprise attack. This information would be priceless for his planning. But it's not just about seeing. Imagine Napoleon with fighter jets like the Rafale or F-16. Even a few of these planes would dominate the skies. They could attack enemy armies from above. Bombs and missiles could destroy enemy artillery. They could target enemy supply lines and commanders. Enemy armies would have no defense against such attacks. They would be completely exposed and vulnerable. The morale of enemies facing such aerial bombardment would collapse. They would feel helpless. Consider his invasion of Russia in 1812. One of his biggest problems was the vast distances and the scorched earth tactics of the Russians. With cargo planes, he could supply his army much more easily. He could fly in food, ammunition, and warm clothing. Attack helicopters like the Apache could protect his flanks. They could hunt down Cossack raiders. The terrible losses his army suffered during the retreat from Moscow might have been avoided. He could have kept his army strong. Air power would also be a powerful tool for projecting power. Napoleon could quickly move troops by air to troubled spots in his empire. He could respond to rebellions or threats much faster. His famous speed would be even greater. He could even use aircraft for propaganda, dropping leaflets with messages to enemy populations or his own. The psychological effect of seeing French aircraft controlling the skies would be huge. It would show everyone that France was the dominant power, technologically far superior. Now let's consider something less explosive but perhaps just as powerful, the internet. Napoleon was a master of propaganda. He carefully controlled his image and the news in France. Imagine him with websites, social media, and global news networks. He could shape opinions on an unprecedented scale. He could broadcast his victories directly to the people of Europe. He could counter any negative stories from his enemies. His speeches could be seen and heard by millions. The internet would also be a vast library of information. Napoleon was very intelligent and curious. He loved to read and learn. With access to the internet, he could study any subject he wanted. He could learn about new technologies, different cultures, and economic theories. This knowledge could help him govern his empire more effectively. He could find new ways to improve France's economy. He could learn from the successes and failures of other leaders throughout history instantly. Cyber warfare would be another tool in his arsenal. He could disrupt enemy communications. He could gather intelligence by hacking into their systems. He could even spread disinformation to confuse his opponents. His enemies in the early 19th century would have no understanding of this. They would have no defense against such attacks. This would give him a huge secret advantage. He could destabilize enemy governments from within, without firing a single shot. Furthermore, the internet could help him manage his vast empire. He could use it to communicate with his administrators across Europe. He could receive reports and issue orders quickly and efficiently. He could create a centralized database of information about his empire. This would make it easier to collect taxes, conscript soldiers, and enforce his laws. The continental system, his attempt to blockade Britain, could be managed far more effectively. The internet would make his empire better organized and controlled. If Napoleon suddenly appeared with tanks, jets, and the internet, other countries would be terrified. Britain, Russia, Prussia, and Austria were his main rivals. They were already struggling to deal with his genius. Modern weapons would make him seem invincible. Their first reaction would likely be disbelief, followed by panic. Diplomats would rush to their capitals with urgent news. Kings and emperors would hold emergency meetings. They would wonder where these demonic weapons came from. Some nations might try to surrender immediately. They might see no hope in fighting such a technologically advanced France. They might try to negotiate peace, hoping to save themselves. Others, especially Great Britain, might try to resist. Britain had a powerful navy and was protected by the sea. They would try to find out Napoleon's secrets. They would send spies to France. They would try to steal or copy the new technology. This would lead to a frantic arms race, but they would be centuries behind. Alliances would shift dramatically. Countries that were previously enemies of France might try to join Napoleon. They might hope to gain favor or protection. Countries that were allied against him would be in a difficult position. Their old ways of fighting would be useless. They might try to form a massive coalition, hoping that sheer numbers could overcome technology. But this would be a desperate gamble. It is more likely that many would be too scared to fight. The world would enter a period of extreme instability. The balance of power would be completely overturned. Old empires might crumble quickly. New nations might emerge or be absorbed into Napoleon's growing empire. There would be widespread fear and uncertainty. Scientists and engineers in other countries would work desperately to understand the new weapons. But it would take them many, many years to catch up. By then, Napoleon might control most of the world. If Napoleon, armed with modern technology, had secured a lasting victory, our world today would be very different. The map of Europe would likely be unrecognizable. France might be the center of a vast European empire, or a federation of states. The French language and culture could be dominant across the continent. Countries like Germany and Italy might never have unified in the way they did, or they might have unified under French influence much earlier. The political landscape would be totally altered. the British Empire might have been greatly diminished or even dismantled much sooner. Without Britain's global power in the 19th century, the histories of places like India, Africa, and North America would be very different. Perhaps Napoleon's influence would have spread to these continents instead. The Napoleonic Code and French ideas of administration might be the basis for laws in many more parts of the world. The spread of democratic ideas might have taken a different path, perhaps more centralized and less liberal. Scientific and technological development might have accelerated under a single powerful empire. Napoleon was a supporter of science. With access to future knowledge, he might have pushed for even faster progress. However, this progress might have been focused on military technology. Social and political progress could have been slower. Without the rivalries that spurred innovation in our timeline, some developments might not have happened. The world might be more uniform with less diversity of thought. The 20th century as we know it with its world wars might not have occurred. If Napoleon had established a lasting peace or a single dominant power, the conflicts might have been avoided. Or, they could have been different kinds of conflicts, perhaps rebellions against his empire. The ideologies that shaped the 20th century, like communism and fascism, might never have risen, or they might have appeared in different forms. It's a fascinating and complex thought. Our entire modern reality could be transformed by this single change. Exploring these what-if scenarios helps us appreciate history even more. It shows how small changes can lead to huge differences. Napoleon with modern weapons is a truly dramatic idea. It highlights his incredible abilities. It also makes us think about the power of technology. We have journeyed through battles changed and a world remade. We hope you found this exploration engaging and thought-provoking. What other historical figures would you like to see in such scenarios? We are passionate about bringing history to life for you. We love to delve into these questions and share our findings. If you enjoyed this essay, please consider supporting our work. Your support allows us to continue creating content like this. You can subscribe to our channel for more historical deep dives. You can share this article with friends who love history, or you can become a patron to help us grow. Every bit of encouragement helps us. We believe that understanding the past is key to understanding our present, and imagining different pasts can open our minds. Thank you for reading and for being part of our community. Your interest and engagement are what drive us. We look forward to bringing you many more stories. We want to explore more fascinating chapters of history. We hope you will join us for those future adventures. Keep questioning, keep learning, and keep exploring the wonders of history. Until next time, keep history alive in your thoughts. Consider the great figures, the pivotal moments, and the roads not taken. The story of humanity is rich and complex. There is always more to discover and to ponder. Your support ensures that we can continue to be your guides on this incredible journey through time. Thank you once again for your invaluable support. We truly appreciate each and every one of you.